All right.
Welcome, everybody, to an all-new episode of Figure It Out, the show where we bring figures to the world of movies, TV, whatever else we want to discuss. This one will be a hot one. I know people were waiting. They know we started this show talking about Snake Eyes, and we've now come to the moment we've been waiting for since our episode in February. We've been doing this since February. We finally got the trailer. I don't call it a trailer. We got a snippet. Anything that's less than a minute is 100% a snippet. But we got our first look at Snake Eyes, the trailer. But before we get into that very fun conversation, let me introduce my panel. Starting off with the future award-winning author, Jaydee. What's going on, Jaydee?
What? What's up, everybody? How are we doing out there in Streamland today?
I'm talking it into existence, Jaydee. I am. Even though we've made it clear these last few weeks, you will gladly forget who all of us are. And I want it on record that I spoke it into existence. Next up, Joel. What's going on, Joel?
What's good, guys? As you can see, I'm in a more classic view.
Yeah. I like that. I'm like,
figured it out, guys.
Everyone can finally now, Joel, see your sword that I always reference, but like it's never in the frame.
It's a nice blade.
That was my best. That was my best man gift.
That's cool.
very nice. What is that?
It's a katana, but I got it as when I was the best man.
Okay, but it's not from like a movie. It's not a replica.
No, it's just a katana that has like my name and stuff. It's cool.
Oh, nice. Okay, personalized. Awesome.
Yeah, personalized.
I got a lousy watch, man. That sucks. That's all.
He's like, I can't kill people with a watch.
Seriously. What am I, James Bond?
Where's weapons? Yeah, where's the weapon? I'm just picturing Pete look over at like a whole nother reception that they're getting weapons, and he just looks at his watch like,
How much that?
He set the bar. Now I feel bad if I get him something like lesser. Then I'm like, fuck, I gotta buy him a gun or something.
yeah, like in his mind, it's like, I got you a sword.
Yeah,
you got me.
Get him a mace. Get him the mace.
A mace?
A mace.
Oh, like actual mace.
I would vote a spear, but yeah, mace is good too.
I like what you guys' heads were. I was thinking like a nuclear weapon. Like,
That's a little hard to come by, man.
I don't know if I can get
That's
my hand on
affordable.
it.
A mace is a lot cheaper than a gun. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It
I don't
looks
think he
nice.
has it.
You're preparing your zombie defense system.
He's into that shit. Yeah.
By the way, I do have to say, when I said that, Joel, I pictured in my head, "Don't be a menace." When he pulls up in that huge ass truck with the missile in the back, Joel backing the truck up, like, "All right, here's your gift. You got me a missile?" It's like, yeah, man, at the top of the sword. And last but definitely not least, loving the shirt. Pete, what's going on, Pete?
What's up, everybody? I'm here. I got my whiskey in a mason jar, and I broke out the 18-year Glenlivet for this. So hopefully it keeps me a little calm, because I have a feeling I'm going to have a few rants today.
I like it. Now that, and huge shout out to Shekinah, who does a GVN talk with us. She joined our marketing team. So she's been getting us into putting out clips of our episodes.
Oh, that's cool.
So the angrier we get, the better the clips are.
Oh, that's all you got to say to me. We're good.
Your clip, and then Shekinah's clip of saying it's different like 500 times, but your clip of what the fuck is wrong with you guys? I don't like any of them. That clip was gold. It was. Once I came across that clip when I was editing, I was just like, that's the clip for the week. That there. All right. So like I said, we're gonna jump into Snake Eyes, and what I want to do, to be fair, I want to go to Joel first and start with all the love in the world, because Joel's coming from a positive standpoint. Before the three of us pull pants down and just completely shit all over. I want Joel to start with peace. But Joel, your thoughts on the little snippet thing, whatever that was that we got from Snake Eyes.
To be fair, I promised I would shit on this movie as well. I told you I'd sell you the biggest fake rage ever. possible for this this movie that doesn't deserve to be raged at because we barely see a damn thing about it. But because you want me to be the opposite of everyone here, I'll do you the favor and I'll talk some nice stuff. But I'm joining in right afterwards. All right. Snake Eyes. It happened. We saw the video. And look, as a person, look, I care the least about G.I. Joe on this panel, right?
Yeah.
I'm coming from a place where I didn't grow up liking G.I. Joe. Only person I grew up liking was Snake Eyes because I like the way it looked. It's all cosmetic for me. I like ninjas. Snake Eyes look cool. This movie seems like it will handle that eventually. So for me, it's not disappointing me. I don't know the backstory. I don't know anything about it. I just know him. And I know that he's eventually going to get fucked up and lose his voice and whatever. That's how I mean, so as long as that happens eventually, I'm cool with it. And I saw the mask. The mask looks cool. The fighting looks cool. The actors, I like the actors involved. So not really sure what's to get mad about, but that's because I only know so much.
Right.
I'm ready to rage, bitch. Let's go.
And that's why I said I understood where you were coming from because you're ultimately saying the same thing we went through, Pete, when we did MCR, and no one knew who the fuck Mephisto was, why I was obsessing over him. And it's like, I got to remember, they don't know, so they don't understand why it's so important to me. So I can't get but so angry because they're telling me they don't know. So it's like, okay, that's why you keep saying you don't care about
I'm
these
like insulted, but I'm like, I don't know why they're so angry. I don't get it.
Well,
it looks like Snake Eyes.
I'll say this because I was tagged a million times. Everyone thought my issue was we didn't see him in the suit. That was not my issue. That's never been my issue. Good. Even though your promotional poster of him holding the mask is disrespectful. But my issue with this trailer is only one thing, and it's the story of Snake Eyes. The fact that
so far.
And again, I am only speaking off of what I've seen. I'm not saying it as if I know anything more than what everyone else saw. In this trailer, it makes it seem, I'll say that, it makes it seem like Storm Shadow as a grown man is recruiting Snake Eyes as another grown man, rather than Snake Eyes growing up with Storm Shadow, them being at odds, in the rift being Snake Eyes being coveted more as the next guy up, rather than Storm Shadow, who believed that was his blood. That was his he was next in line. So to me, it's the idea of Snake Eyes seems like this world-class assassin or whatever, and Storm Shadow is recruiting his help. It also looks like Storm Shadow is the head of the Arashikage. I don't like that either. So again, to me, it kind of just seems like they're moving past everything. And it's just like, we're not having them as childhood friends. We're not having them as growing up together. It looks like we only saw the Hard Master, right? Pete and Jaydee, that was the Hard Master.
We saw the Blind Master.
The Blind Master. So we know the Hard Master's in it. So maybe we get flashbacks or whatever.
That's what it was?
Say it again, Joe?
Peter Mensa, right? That's his name?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I only know as from Spartacus. Yeah, Animatus.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah.
Well, I did not know who was in the movie, and if I have one positive of this whole ordeal, it's definitely him. Right. I like that dude a lot.
Love him. Spartacus.
So my issue again, the mask, okay, looks cool. I told Joel what he looks like he's wearing in the car when he's shooting and fighting on top of the cars looks like probably what the final suit will look like, because when you see the toy, it doesn't look that much different. So okay, whatever, fine. I mean, I can't yell at that and then accept how Pattinson's Batman's costume looks, because we know it's the first one, right? So it could look different down the line. Again, issue is not the look of Snake Eyes, because we didn't see him in the suit or the helmet. My issue is only it looks like they've changed the story, and I don't get why. So that's where I'm coming from. That's where my anger stemmed from. I also don't understand how Matt Reeves filmed Batman for 2 weeks and gave us a 2-minute trailer, and this is completely done filming, and we got 59 seconds, and it comes out in 2 months. I don't really get that either. Because that 59-second teaser could have came out 4 months ago, 3 months ago, 2 months ago. And then you gave us a full-length trailer. Like, I thought they were going to do a snippet for the award show and then release the full trailer. And then when they were like, no, that was a full thing, it was just like, what? Like, I don't get that, but okay. So Jaydee or Pete, whichever one of you guys wants to go next. That was my only issue. You guys can jump off of that. Which one of you guys wants to go next?
Choose your forward.
You know what?
Yeah, brother.
Pete, let me go because I got a little positive on this, right? All right. G.I. Joe is an evergreen brand. Those of you who don't know what an evergreen brand is, that every 5 to 10 years, it gets refreshed and it's going to sell based on the work it has done previously, right? So G.I. Joe, Barbie, Transformers, He-Man has not proven to be an evergreen brand because he failed a few times.
Mhm.
Power Rangers, that's an evergreen brand. Ninja Turtles, that gets refreshed every 5 years like clockwork and will sell. You can easily hit projections on Ninja Turtles. So G.I. Joe is along that same line, right? Say we want the last 2 movies, they did make money, right? They weren't a critical success, but they made money based on the stuff that happened around. The problems for me is that Snake Eyes was always pitched as the commando for me first. Before we got into the whole ninja backstory stuff, he was the commando. He was the black ops guy. I hope they touch into that. I know they can't touch into the Vietnam stuff that was built up. No problem. All right. I don't know what wars we had recently that
Afghanistan works.
Okay. Okay. The connection on there. But if you hit one of those elements that he came from the military, commando, all right, because that was his name first. It was Commando, codename Snake Eyes, right?
Oh.
That's 1. 2, I do get nervous when what I feel is they give us, all the action scenes. If these are just going to be the only action scenes in the whole movie, right? I'm upset. I hope there's more to it than that. I hope they don't go into the whole chosen one aspect, or that he was a descendant from somebody else in the Arashikage. That's why he gets called into this. Try to do something better. Larry Hama was brought in. They show him the nice suit, looking over footage. But could that be just, a swerve to appease us more than him really being happy on the product? Like, yeah, I'm getting paid,
Larry Hama's a producer like Stan Lee was a fucking producer in the MCU. I mean, really. He's a name to put on the property, and that's it, like a seal of approval. Just stamp the shit, give him his paycheck, and that's done.
I mean, Pete made a good point. I mean, and again, we don't know Larry, so we have to take him at his word, right? Because we don't know him, and we also don't know him to be a liar. But
Larry is usually pretty truthful and blunt about things.
Right.
But
he's
very
fair, I doubt he would have, even if he didn't like something, I doubt he would have come out in that and be like, "No, that's the thing. That's the thing."
Right.
So
I don't mind that Dry Eye is playing Snake Eyes. I liked the movie. You never saw The Gentleman?
Of course I did. I knew exactly who you were talking about.
You didn't see The Gentleman?
I never saw it. I was like, I'm trying to figure out what the term meant.
That is such a good. You got to see that. It's such a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice evolution from Dry Eye to Snake Eyes. Very, very nice.
Right. He's keeping an eye in the family for sure.
Old man joke, dad joke. I don't know, maybe. I like some of the action sequences that we saw. The woman. I don't know. Is she Jinx? Is she something else?
No. It's They said the name for the toy. I
Really?
gotta look it up.
And it's completely irrelevant. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it is. It is. You're right. It's Louis Tan's Cole Young in Mortal Kombat, right? So am I taking the position that the Mortal Kombat faithful did defending the Mortal Kombat flick? Am I already going into it defending it like, okay, I'm coming in with no expectations. It's gonna be reset. You know, hopefully we get something good. You know, I just hope, you know, he was a commando. Tie in the military aspect. All right, no problem. You're right, because right with Mortal Kombat, we was like, oh, this sets up the tournament. All right, so this sets up. He's gonna get all jacked up. He's gonna lose his voice. Don't tease it to me like you did with Sam Jackson in Captain Marvel. Was he gonna lose his eye now? Oh, is he gonna lose his eye now? You know, just be definitive about it. This is how it happens.
Well, in the clip that I sent you, Jaydee, they said it more than once that this is the story before he loses his.
And I'm all right with that.
They kept saying it, and to me, I'm like, okay, as long as you guys understand, at no point after this movie ends do I ever want to hear him talk again.
No,
I am okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Right.
But if this movie ends and you don't have that in that, everything else washes away at that point. Everything else washes away.
And the other thing I want is, I'm hoping you pepper in some of the other elements of G.I. Joe. You don't have to tell me Zartan. You know what I mean? But if you show me the student who was doing everything he could to get into the Urashikage, right? That maybe you think is a little bit sinister. Okay, I'm feeling that. Or you show me somebody else that has chameleon properties. I'm all right with that. Show me maybe the kinship, not just with Scarlet that we saw, but he was really good friends with Stalker. You know,
Yes.
Show somebody that could have been Stalker in the books. If you have flashbacks to him being a commando, I'm okay with that. But I'm already prepared for the reset. I'm already prepared for the negativity. I just hope it's strong enough to go past that. Yeah.
Well, I'll say this, Jaydee, where I think this movie comes in at an advantage that Mortal Kombat doesn't have is people, when you say the word G.I. Joe, they think collective, they think ensemble, they think full team.
Right.
So that's why I said, yes, Joel. Right. That's why I said what bothers me is I feel like this is conforming to the idea that they realize majority of their audience has no fucking idea who Snake Eyes is.
Right.
And
So
that's where I'm like,
Right.
you're kind of like, it's like a FU to us who are only seeing it because we know exactly who Snake Eyes is. And I always say, don't conform to the people who don't know. And the reason why you don't conform to them is if you conform to the people who do know, we will tell them to go see it because we enjoy it. It's the same thing that WandaVision did. WandaVision was a perfect example of why you don't conform to people who don't know. There were so many people who had no idea what they were watching that were depending on us to tell them what they were watching, but they just wanted to be a part of it. So all you need to do is cater to the people who actually get it, and then we will gladly spread it all over social media.
Well, I don't think you need to cater, but if you pepper, like I said, right, Stalker, you don't got to call him Stalker. You show me what Stalker's real name was, right? Oh, we'll get that. Maybe he saves some kid or pushes some kid out of the way of something, and the kid's name is Billy. People will spooch on the fucking screen. You know what I'm saying? Oh, but that's all you got to do.
That's the
You gotta hope not. But you don't have to go deep into it. You don't need to explain, the 12 faces of the clock. Have that in there. You just have to a quick nod, a quick nod.
Easter eggs. That's it.
That's it.
These are even my favorite.
That's it.
Even
Well,
though I don't know any of them.
That's what I told you. That's what Venom did. That was able to capture me. The
Right.
fact that Jameson's son was the pilot,
Okay.
like stuff like that was just like okay.
Yeah.
I want to welcome in before we go any further. I want to welcome in Tia. What's going on, Tia?
Hey, Tia.
Hey everyone.
Yeah.
What's up, gents?
We're shitting on
Um,
Snake Eyes. You just made it.
Yes.
Yeah, you're finishing up.
Yeah.
Snake Eyes.
You're just here in time to find the full wrath of the rant.
Yes, exactly.
You know what the thing is? I was walking my dog and everything, and I was like, oh, they'll start with figures and everything. And I had nothing really to contribute to that, so I was like, all right, I'll come in afterwards. But missing the Snake Eyes, my bad.
Just in time.
No, you're good because Pete hasn't gone yet. So you're completely.
It's only just
Ding,
begun.
ding, ding.
It's only just begun. But Pete, I want to pass it to you. I think the thing that catches me off guard the most was you kind of can see how close Snake and Storm Shadow are in this trailer, right? Storm Shadow needing Snake. My question is, what could possibly go wrong that spins them into bitter rivals? Like, again, I think people forget in the books, it was the idea of jealousy. It was the idea of Snake was kind of getting the respect and the admiration of the Hardmaster that Storm Shadow wanted. So it was the idea of, well, I want you out of the way so I can be the shining student. So if you're now like best of friends and you're both adults, it's like, where do you work that in? But I'm sorry, go ahead, Pete. Your thoughts on the trailer?
My whole fucking Wi-Fi just totally spazzed out. So I did not hear a single thing you just said.
Oh my
I swear to God.
Juwaan was
I'm
just
like,
saying,
yo, this shit is like, I swear to God, the God, my CIA agent Johnson is definitely watching this and he's preventing me from saying shit.
Wait a second. Johnson from Die Hard? Or
No, I
Johnson-
just call him Johnson because
Okay.
whatever, like every now and then I say some dumb shit, my fucking phone screen flashes, whatever. That's why I don't have my Alexa hooked up, because I don't need more than one device listening to me at one point.
That is true. That is
I was
true.
impressed if somebody's listening to me. I'd be like, yeah.
I talk about killing people way too much to have things listening to me.
Unfortunately, the rest of the world is like Jaydee when it comes to me. No one's interested in my theory. So 5 minutes into it, they're just like, all right, well, we're done with him. Who's the next person we can listen to? No, but just really quickly, Pete, just long story less long. I was just saying it seems like Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow are very close in this.
Mhm.
So I have no idea where you bring in the idea of them being bitter rivals by the end of this movie, because in the books, we know they were rivals from childhood. Based off
Well, not in the books. In the original movies, they were rivals since childhood. In the comics, they were army buddies. First and foremost, they came up in the ranks was Tommy, Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes, whose name was never given, and Stalker, Alonzo something. Can't think of his last name. And the way Snake Eyes got hurt was he saved Storm Shadow from a helicopter crash, and the fuselage exploded in his face. And it damaged his vocal cords, messed up his face. And to heal, Tommy brought him to his family dojo or whatever up in the mountains of Japan. And that's when they took Snake Eyes in, even though he was a gaijin and he was not welcome. And they took him in as one of their own. And the rivalry started in much the same way as was seen in the movie, where the Storm Shadow supposedly killed the Hard Master because he was jealous of Snake Eyes' ranks. Like the Hard Master favored him, which he did not actually. He was showing the two of them two very different techniques, and Storm Shadow was jealous of that because he thought he favored him. And what happened was it was in Storm Shadow that killed him. It was actually Zartan, but Snake Eyes didn't know that. All he saw, which was very accurate in the original G.I. Joe movie, was Storm Shadow fleeing the Arashikage compound. And he thought, oh shit, it was him, which was actually something I really liked in the second Joe flick, when Storm Shadow tells, like, you never even asked me, you just assumed. And, you know, there was that whole vow of silence thing, which is horse shit. I didn't like that in the first movie anyway. Without going
Pete,
crazy.
sorry.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Since you just spoke on that, did Zartan intentionally kill the Hard Master?
No, he was after Snake Eyes.
Right, because of the heartbeat, right?
So if I'm gonna get real geeky for a second, Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes were two opposite sides of a coin. They both had a specialty in two very different ninja techniques. Storm Shadow possessed the ear that sees, which is why he was so good with a bow and arrow. And he could like just close his eyes and hit a target from, you know, however far away. And that's why Snake Eyes thought it was Storm Shadow, because the arrow pierced through like so many obstacles and killed the Hard Master. And he thought it was Storm Shadow because only he could do that. But it was Zartan. The Hard Master was imitating Snake Eyes using the Cloak of the Chameleon, which was a technique that he was showing him to basically become like invisible and disguise his heartbeat, slow it down to the point of death. And that's a technique that Snake Eyes has used a few times in the comics before. And you learn that he was. For what I don't remember why Zartan was trying to kill him. I think it was like a G.I. Joe Cobra thing, and they knew they were going to recruit them or something. But either way, without going too crazy on this movie, I want to give it a chance. I do. I don't know if I'm going to pay money for it. I'm probably going to see it through other various unscrupulous means. But I don't like the fact that he spoke, obviously. I wanted him to be silent. I wanted his face to be fucked up. I hope that I get that now at the end of the movie, Juwaan. I completely agree with you that if this is going to be Snake Eyes' new origin, and I'm not, written in stone that it had to be him getting hurt in the war and then, whatever. I'm okay with them being old army buddies and Storm Shadow calls Snake in to, hey, we need you for this, whatever it is, and, come help us out. Fine, whatever. Larry Hama has gone on the record many times saying, I literally made shit up as I went along, page by page sometimes. Right. So, like, okay, I get it. The amount of times he was, like, dead set on a story were very few and far between. One of them being the Snake Eyes trilogy in the 90s issues. But I need something at the end of this movie and I like the idea, Jay, of him saving Billy. That's a cool Easter egg. But I'd really like the rivalry to conclude with him saving Storm Shadow. Like maybe from a helicopter crash or something. I don't know, whatever.
That's as you were bringing it up, that would be a nice nod.
Yeah. And like let that be how he gets messed up. Like Storm Shadow hates him. Snake Eyes doesn't. Snake Eyes doesn't want the fight, but Storm Shadow does. And him saving him kind of says like, yo, brother, we should squash this bullshit at some point, but then he has to escape because all of Cobra shows up, Scarlet saves him, got to get out of here. And Storm Shadow has no clue he saved him or anything like that. And now he can't even tell him because his voice is all messed up.
Right.
Right. I'll take that.
I like that.
I'm with that.
They should hire me as a writer, for fuck's sake.
They should.
I don't. The high-flying, high-wire acts I never get into. These two are some of the best martial artists in Hollywood. Just let them like fucking Ken Watanabe and Godzilla. Let them fight. Let them fight. I don't need them flying around all over the place. Let them fight. For God's sake.
What's Storm Shadow's name?
Tommy Arashikage.
No, the actor.
I have no idea.
Andrew Koji.
Okay.
Warrior.
Yes, fucking love me some.
Watch Warrior.
God, every time I see Andrew Koji, I'm like, Shang-Chi. Anyway.
Okay.
I'm gonna cut
though. That's why it freaked me out.
Yes.
That little,
and the part he did with like his hair, it was just like for a second I was just like, oh, that is Andrew Koji.
Yeah.
But Tia, before I pass it over to you, I do want to say, what's his name? That's playing Snake Eyes. Henry Golding said that this movie is going to be like anything we've ever seen from obviously the other two G.I. Joe movies. But what I want to clarify when
the other three
movies.
The cartoon was a movie.
Oh, you're right. Okay, yeah.
The G.I. Joe the movie.
Wait,
that was a
movie.
I could do without Cobra Law.
You remind me of everybody when I always go, however many Batman. Mask of the Phantasm. All right, I guess it counts, but no, not really. I mean, live action.
What do you mean it doesn't count?
It's not live action.
Well, I mean, if we're counting that, then we gotta count G.I. Joe Resolute as well.
Yeah, that was a movie, and I would argue probably the best.
That was
I didn't see that movie. I didn't see the movie.
You got it, Resolute.
You should. I got the DVD if you want to borrow it. It's really good.
Yeah, is that the one where Baroness has like some gray Nazi outfit?
I think so. Yes. No.
I don't think so. I don't know.
He's like, no.
But I will say that fight between Snake and Storm Shadow is A1.
So good. I mean, it didn't.
Very good.
They never even explored the idea that Storm Shadow was not the bad guy in that. It was just a fight, and it was still dope.
That was it. But what I was saying was, he's saying this is the best thing we've seen out of these G.I. Joe movies. I just want to remind him the only good things to come out of the two G.I. Joe movies were Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes.
That's true. Wait now. Oh God, I can't think of it. Ray Stevenson as Firefly.
You like Firefly. You do love Firefly.
I do. That dude was awesome. I really liked Arnold Vosloo as Zartan. I thought that was a great casting.
Yeah.
You know, the
I
fact that
love
he was
the
in
whiplash.
disguise as the old guy most of the time was kind of shitty. And I did like RZA as the blind master. That was dope.
Yep.
That was different.
I will say, Pete, because you always give my boys straight bullets, I'm gonna give your boy a straight bullet before I pass it to Thea. I did like in the first G.I. Joe movie, we barely saw Hawk.
I like Dennis Quaid, man. I did. I
and
thought that was
also
good
like,
casting.
as soon as he got stabbed, I was just like, yeah, put Duke where he belongs. Get Hawk out of here.
I remember. Did I tell you? Sorry, Joel. What?
No, they didn't do Duke any justice either.
Hell
I
no.
remembered why I hate Duke. Did I tell you this?
Why?
G.I. Joe issue 109, when the Saw Viper came out and literally massacred like 30 Joes. This was the first time we ever saw like real straight up just death all over the place. This dude was like just an insane psychopath with a gigantic like M50 machine gun or whatever. And he just mows down Battle Force 2000. He just blasts Doc like square in the grill, like looking up from the trench. He's like, oh, boom. Like, we're like, holy shit.
I
Duke
like
had the
40,000. I like Doc. Kill some of my people, dude.
Quick kick was pretty cool. Man never wore shoes. I didn't understand that. You're out in the wild, like put some sneakers on, man. But still, like, and Duke had the chance to kill him and didn't because we shouldn't. I think he wasn't looking at some point. Like he would have shot him in the back. Like who cares? Who the fuck cares? Shoot his ass.
Sorry, man. Duke is on this Batman wave. We don't just be killing people out here, Pete.
I just got finished telling somebody else.
You know, Hawk has been there since the beginning. Hawk was in the initial wave. He just wasn't General Hawk.
Right.
That's true.
No, I'm only poking fun at Hawk because Pete loves him so much. And
I like the second version when he had the jetpack and shit with the helmet.
No, that was the third version.
That's the third. You're right. I'm sorry. I did forget.
I'm gonna ask you guys because I always forget. Who is Bruce Willis in Retaliation?
Joe Colton, the original Joe. In the 60s, they just called him Joe. It was the 12-inch figure, and they retconned him later to be General Joe Colton, who retired.
I remember that because I remember people in the theater were talking when he said who he was, and people in the theater were just like, I always thought G.I. Joe was Duke, and it was just like, shut up.
It's like Wolverine. There's a lot of people that call Wolverine X-Man. It was so fucking frustrating.
That's smack-worthy. That's like
it really is.
Free to the forehead.
You know what's frustrating about? Like, I get it. You don't know, but nothing in your brain clicks. Like, oh, X-Men are like a group.
Plural.
Clearly not one person. Like, why?
But Wolverine's the X-Man. The X-Man.
Right. The only guy. X-Man. That's him. Just him. Anyway, Tia, you saw the Snake Eyes trailer. How did you enjoy it?
I mean, it looked okay. As someone who has really no knowledge about G.I. Joe, honestly, everyone was talking and I'm like, this is all Greek to me. But I mostly was watching it thinking about how Juwaan was perceiving it. Like, Kanan posted it on Twitter, and as soon as I saw the opening shot of like Henry Golding's face, I was like, oh, Juwaan's not going to be happy, is he? So I think I paid a little bit more attention to how I felt like you were going to perceive it than anything else. I mean, maybe I think we were talking in a message where I said like maybe this is just this movie and then moving forward you won't see his face or anything like that. So maybe we just have to be patient. But I mean, it looked like a solid action flick. I mean, you have Henry Golding, Andrew Koji, so you have people who are really good in martial arts. So if anything, hopefully that.
Henry Golding is not a martial artist.
No, he
was trained for this movie.
Oh, okay. Well, I know Andrew Koji can lay down some amazing moves. With
no, Koji, yes, but Henry Golding actually, to your point, Jaydee, was trained so hard for this movie. He said he called his agent within the third week and asked if there was any way to get him out of it. And when and obviously, he stuck with it. But he said the training was so grueling. And he was looking around at everybody else. It was just like, No one else is dying here but me. Okay.
So wait a second. Can I have to interject another point here that I was not going to. I promised myself I was not going to get on the race card here, but now I have to. I did not know that Henry Golding was not an astute martial artist prior to this film. So now what you're telling me is they busted ass to find an Asian dude for this part that I got past that. I did. I had my rant about that, but now they busted their ass to find an Asian guy, which perpetuated another little bit of racism, like an anti inclusionary racism of what? Only Asian people know martial arts, and the dude don't even know martial arts. Like in the first place, they couldn't just find like a corn-fed white guy or anybody but an Asian guy to be fucking Snake Eyes. I'm done.
To be fair, Pete, when they started filming, the thing that they kept saying was they wanted a feel of the movie to be as like it's like what they did with Mortal Kombat. It's why majority of that is casted as Asian.
But that's should happen. Those guys were Chinese and Japanese.
They
that
did
was
the opposite of Iron Fist, where they got a lot of shit for casting a white guy in a white role. So they did the opposite. They went with he's half Asian, half white. Let's go with a half Asian man.
The runner-up for Iron Fist was Louis Tan.
Yeah.
And sorry for all you Louis Tan guys. We know he's not a good actor.
Well, neither was what's his name.
Well,
Can I tell you, he wasn't at all. I remember that whole controversy when happened. First of all, no, Finn Jones was not good in that at all. Like, there's
that
a
guy
reason
threw kicks
why.
like my grandmother.
There was a reason why he originally was cast for Prodigal Son, and then as soon as he went for the table read, they were like, "Oh no, get this guy the hell out of here."
Finn
That's
Jones
a fact.
was supposed to be Prodigal Son.
Finn Jones was first, and I wrote the articles about him getting cast, and then a week later, him getting kicked out and replaced by Tom Payne because his table read was so bad. But I remember when Louis Tan really got so angry that he did not get cast as, Danny Rand. And then I see Iron Fist and I'm like, you're not really that good. And then I see him in Wu Assassins and I'm like, you're really not that good. And then I see him in Deadpool 2 and I'm like, you're really not that good. I'm like, I don't know. This is why I have such a problem with him having such a major role in Mortal Kombat, because I'm like, he has an overinflated ego and sense of self, and that really is shown through the screen. And I feel that Hollywood doesn't like working with people like that for very long.
Well, Anthony Mackie has a job every day, so
but they got rid of Katherine Heigl after a while. Katherine Heigl after a while.
All right, so fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
I have one more point.
You gotta rub the right genitals to stay in Hollywood.
One more point on this.
Joel said that. I just want that to be clear. Joel said that, but go ahead.
Only like I see it.
They better not fucking say his name. They better not drop a single goddamn syllable of a first name, last name. I don't even want to know a middle initial. Call him Snake Eyes.
I'm glad you said that, Pete, because I want to speak to what Tia was originally saying about when you saw it, seeing him out of the mask, knowing like I was probably somewhere just raging in a corner. I just want to make it very clear to people. When I rage about Snake Eyes in Halo, the reason why I rage so much about them is they're not Batman, they're not Superman, they're not Spider-Man. They don't have another, like, they don't turn into Bruce Wayne at the end of the day. Snake Eyes, what you see, that's alter egos, thank you. What you see in Snake Eyes, that's Snake Eyes 24/7. There's not like, all right, it's downtime, let me go ahead and peel this off and, talk to people about my day. No, that's never him.
Right.
It's like Halo. He never takes that. I've played all the games, and you've never seen his face.
Yeah, that was the one thing I remember when we were talking about Halo, and you were talking about Master Chief and wanting him not to show his face, and I was like, "What's the big deal?" And I think I remember that podcast. My boyfriend's in the other room, like, "No, he can never take off the helmet because he's with his."
It was a vow. It was a vow that he would never remove it, Master Chief, and B. To me, if you never did it in the games, there was a reason why you never did it.
But now I'm just
Don't
laughing
need
at
to
the
do that.
idea of like Master Chief taking off his helmet at the end of the day, sitting by the water cooler.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, that was
Told
tough.
I told you, Thea,
See, but
the first time I see it, I am done. I'm
There's-
not-
there's one more thing about that, Juwan, and I mentioned this in a previous podcast. You lose the opportunity of selling him across any demographic by doing that, because without seeing what he looks like underneath, he could be anybody. He could be Asian, black, white, Indian, Turkish, you know,
True.
Canadian,
Canadian,
female.
though, that's hard.
But, you know, it's like
Those damn
in the Marvel
Canadians.
universe, right? In the Marvel universe, they don't know who's under Spider-Man's mask, so it could be anybody.
Yes.
You know, so by leaving that mask on, he could have been anybody. The same thing with G.I. Joe. You missed out on that opportunity. He could have been anybody, one. And two, you did not need to cast a lead with a name to take on the role.
No,
You
they're
could
gonna
save
just
that
recast
money
in the
for something
sequel.
else.
But to me, I'll also say this, JD. Growing up watching some of the newer G.I. Joe cartoons, I really was sold on the idea of Snake is very much a strong personality that you can kind of understand what he's saying without him having to say it. But
Of
I also
course.
like the idea. I also like the idea that Scarlet was there to kind of go, nah, this is what he's. No, he said no, he doesn't want to do it. Like,
Yeah.
I like the idea. I like the mouthpiece. I like it. Like you know, and I'm gonna use this really quick example. Brock Lesnar is horrible on the microphone. It's why Paul Heyman gets paid a shit ton of money, because he's one of the greatest mouthpieces. You don't ever want to hear Brock Lesnar talk. That's why Paul Heyman's there. To me, I like that Snake never talks. Scarlet does it for him, or his actions do the talking.
Right.
So I agree with you. I never needed Snake Eyes. To me, JD, and I know you guys have read the book, so it does give somewhat of a backstory of him. But I've always pictured Snake Eyes the same way I've always pictured Joker. I don't need to know how the sausage was made.
Damn
I
right.
like that I have the sausage.
Speak behind the curtain.
Unless I will sit here and defend Joker. I thought it was great.
It was
If
good.
Oh, it
it's-
was a fantastic movie.
If it's done well, it's like, and I agree with you, Juwan, 100%. Like, one of the like great things about Heath Ledger's Joker in The Dark Knight was that you never knew why he got the scars. The fact that, you know, he just
That was
kept
great.
putting
Yes.
out. Yeah, so it's like I agree that it's like we didn't need it, but if it's done correctly, then it's great.
And
like,
it was
I'll
done
give you-
correctly, because
I'll-
you still don't know if it's real or not.
That's
just-
true.
Right, and
It
I'm
is
saying
true.
like
Fucking
Joker was great. I'll give an example. Am I allowed to talk about this actually now? I don't think so.
What do you
I
know?
saw a movie that is by Disney that's coming out. That's an origin story of a certain well-known Disney villain from a certain dog-related movie,
No.
and it was absolutely not necessary. 100%.
Oh, wow.
So it's like
Wow.
100%. I messaged Kane. I was like, I have nothing nice to say about this movie.
But to me though, it's the mystery, and I even loved as much shit as I give the three movies. I enjoyed that Christopher Nolan played with that in The Dark Knight. His story changed each time he told it. That's
Yeah.
Joker. That's Joker. You should never know point A to point B of Joker's life. It should only be you're at point B. Point A doesn't even exist
The
anymore.
mystery.
Right. And that's to me what Snake Eyes should always be, is that he's in the mask. And if you want to do flashbacks, it's only the flashback of maybe them younger. Not, you know, as like children, but just a little younger. I don't even necessarily need that. But if you want to put that there, I could live with that. But to have a full-on movie of him talking and everything is just like, I don't know.
That's exactly why there's no stories about Jesus in his teenage years. Nobody made up anything good enough. Oh, oops.
Well, that's
Okay.
not why, but I'm not. This is not the conspiracy
Okay.
episode.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Well-
Okay, yeah, we're gonna scoot past that. But no, I will say that it did have, you know, to
Me,
I'm sorry.
me,
Did I-
me, me as a cat, me as a Catholic, I'll.
Oh my!
No, so am I.
I'll say, right? Everyone just so me.
We're here.
I've eaten the body before and drank the
Right?
the blood. You know, I did it.
What was I gonna say? No, to end it a little bit positive on my note, I will say the opening sequence looks pretty cool. That looked really awesome. It looked
Henry
really
Golding
fluid.
in an interview said he would be interested in doing like the silent interlude as a movie. That he would be down for that. He just with the right director.
I'm completely good with that. They kept saying it in the behind the scenes video
Right.
release after the trailer that it is based off of those books where it does not talk. So that's what kept confusing me because it was like it's based off of this story where he doesn't talk, but he talks in the movie.
Oh, because the
it's not
producers
there
and we're paying this guy, we might as well hear him speak.
I
mean,
guarantee you it was
true.
his fucking agent who was like, Henry has to talk.
No, Pete, you know what? I honestly believe it's more so the studio. I do believe it's the
I do
studio
too.
going. Not enough people know that Snake Eyes doesn't talk. So we could sell it. We can.
Right. Why doesn't he talk?
I do believe as huge as G.I. Joe is,
I thought it
in
was in
2021, I do believe its fan base is nowhere near what it was 20, 30 years ago. But
Unfortunately,
I think
that's
they
true.
believe that they can get away with this because Snake Eyes, unfortunately, isn't as valued as we value him to a larger market of the world. So a lot of people, as soon as he suits up, I swear someone out there is going to go, Batman? I guarantee you. I guarantee you someone will say that. So to me, it's the idea of we got to market this, and the only way to market it is to have him talk, unfortunately.
Well, they want to sell the character, the human part, and then the Snake Eyes part would come later. But for me, as a person, look, I want to get into G.I. Joe. I want to like these characters. And if it starts with a character I really like, it helps it. But like it's hard. Like it was hard for me to get into it because I just never I wasn't into soldiers as a kid, you know? I'm more into robots and ninjas.
The only
You
thing
were
I
the- you were
remember
the
about
Power
G.I.
Rangers.
Joe is the G.I. Joe.
Yeah. It started and I changed the channel.
I recommend it.
Enough.
Please, if no one has ever seen the G.I. Joe episode of the Toys That Made Us,
I have
Watch
seen it. I've seen them all.
please watch it.
And not for nothing,
Please.
Juwaan, Tia just gave me a great idea for a future episode. Best cartoon jingles, because like the 80s had some really dope cartoon theme songs.
That's an
Not
episode.
for nothing.
That's an
Yes,
episode.
indeed.
That's 100% an episode.
He was like, John, I'm hearing the theme song playing in my head right now.
I still
I
have
agree
the
with the
Archie.
Transformers.
I still have the Archie cartoon theme song in my head.
Wow, dude.
Wow.
That's
You
Can I
beat me.
say one last thing before if you move on? I don't know if you're moving on. I knew so little about G.I. Joe growing up that I mixed up G.I. Joe with Captain Planet. And I
Wow.
thought for some reason they were in like the
Oh,
same.
man.
I don't know how that mix happens, but okay.
Yeah.
See, you just going, nah, he kind of
That's just gleeful ignorance at that point. That's just
I'm sorry.
Can I
not even
add
trying.
offensive.
one piece of fan that I would like in the movie that I know they're not going to do, but just for shits and giggles, I would love to have a Nick Cage cameo.
Why?
what?
Because he did
I swear I was about to say that.
the first Snake Eyes movie.
Oh my
He just
God.
appears.
Oh God!
I fell for that.
We
I
apologize
felt
for our listeners that they had to be
Come
subjected
on,
to that.
give me Nick Cage.
We apologize. Jaydee is working on that. He is getting the help that he needs.
Dude,
Now that we bring it up,
I just went through 16
wow.
ounces right here, so I'm
is,
good.
is
Go
there
ahead.
a reason?
Get yourself
why
another.
Is there a reason
Another.
why they call Snake Eyes Snake Eyes?
We don't know.
We don't know.
Nope.
It's just the name. Okay.
No, he wears
That's
he wears a knight's visor, so I don't know how.
His
that's what I
original
mean.
one was just like the
Well,
two
but not-
eyes,
Right.
so that
Goggles.
could be it.
But I mean, that
Okay.
used to be, Joel, now that you asked that used to be the fun of collecting the old Snake Eyes figures, is when the classified cards came with it. Everyone else would be in full detail, who they are, who their mother was, everything. And Snake Eyes would just be
Question mark.
Snake Eyes.
Unknown.
It's like,
unknown.
It's like, you know what it looked like, Joel? Snake Eyes' card looked like a Mewtwo Pokemon card, where it's like everything's unknown. That would be Snake Eyes always.
But you know, like you guys said, he was the spy, right? He was the commando. So it's like, you shouldn't know shit anyway.
No.
Look at this fucking commando here. Look at everything he's loaded up with, man. Detonators, pouches filled with pouches.
That's a
3
lot of
different
pouches.
swords. Knives that come out of
You know
nowhere.
what, JD?
That's a little too much.
I always said that. I always said, and I'm glad you said that, Joel. When they put all those different pouches and stuff, I've always wanted to see that in a movie. Them literally utilize all the pouch. It's what always bothered me about Batman movies. You got the utility belt. I don't ever really see you go deep into your utility belt.
Well,
deep into
let's
that.
be honest. Do you really need to use shark repellent in every situation?
Yes.
You don't need to use shark repellent.
Yes, there's sharks everywhere.
Shark repellent.
But
I remember an episode of Batman where he put like gloves on top of his gloves.
Yes.
Why?
Yes, that was hilarious. I will say though, Joel, I feel like Matt Reeves might do this, but it's a small thing, and we're gonna get into the Batman. That's why I'm transitioning here.
One thing in Renegades, he was given the name Snake Eyes by the Hard Master.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's only Renegade.
What's
That's
the
not
best-
real American hero.
If you could recommend one G.I. Joe thing, what would it be so I can get into it?
Resolute. That would be my thing. Like if you're looking for something that really kind of grabs you because it's different than because to me, if I say the cartoons, Joel, it might remind you of why you didn't want to watch it in the first
80s cartoon. Yeah, it's hard
right.
to get
that far. So to me, it'd be Resolute.
The original Larry Hama Marvel books were
Good.
ridiculously good because they were not campy at all like the cartoon. Larry Hama is an actual military veteran. So he was a weapons specialist. His knowledge of like serial numbered weapons and tanks and fucking aircrafts and stuff is insane. And he puts it all in the books. Like he'll be just like rattling off fucking guns and stuff in the midst of word bubbles. And you're just like, holy shit. So, I mean, the first, I would say 130 or so issues of G.I. Joe is just amazing. Like I know that's a lot of books, but that I would say, yeah, just go for the original run of the Marvel books because they just let Larry Hama just do your thing. They forced him a few new characters every now and then as they would introduce them in the toys and the cartoons, but the only ones he actively despised was Serpentor and Cobra La. Like if you see him at a convention, he has a sign that says "Will not draw Serpentor and Globulus or anybody else from Cobra La." Hates them.
So the original Marvel books for Larry is Pete's recommendation. Mine's G.I. Joe Resolute. Jaydee, what's your recommendation to Joel?
I want to say Renegades because you had a simple cast of 5 Joes.
Okay.
Right? Tunnel Rat, Snake Eyes, Roadblock. It was Roadblock, right? Roadblock, Duke, and Scarlet. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were on the run. Who doesn't love a nice on the run story? It was the A team, but with 5 Joes.
And I did like it, JD, with the idea of like Cobra Commander during the day being like this polarizing figure, and then at night no one knowing that he's turning into like Cobra Commander. I always like that because to me it's the Lex Luthor effect. It's the idea of during the day they're loving how I'm thriving, with my business and putting money out there, creating jobs and all that, and it's like they have no idea at night I am trying to kill them every day. Like I love that transition to where it's just like, no, he's a good guy, and it's like, no, he just
no, he's not. Yeah,
he was a used car salesman in the original series in the comics.
Wow.
Pete, is Renegades on Tubi?
I'm not sure.
I will say this, Joel. If you actually go to Hasbro on YouTube, they actually have a channel where it only shows Renegade episodes on loop.
Really?
And the original cartoons have their own channel too.
Right.
Oh, the Renegades is YouTube.
Yeah, that's on. I mean, you can find it on Tubi also, but on YouTube they have a channel where it just plays that 24/7.
I'm down with that. I liked it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, I didn't really necessarily like when they went to some alien aspects. I won't get too far into that, so Joel can actually.
That sounds interesting.
But
you say?
Towards the end of the run, they didn't know where to branch out to.
Right.
So
So
they, you know, the aliens. So some of the most expensive Joes are the alien Joes, Predacon.
What a con.
Yeah. There was 3 alien GI Joes that they got repaints. So you know they end up becoming 6 alien Joes, but one of them had 6 arms. One of them had the bendy flexy thing in it, and one had a bendy flexy neck.
What'd you think of the Renegades figure line?
I don't remember them.
It came like one of their specialty items was the 4-pack that was Snake, Duke.
You know, I didn't pick up the Renegade figures because at the same time they had the 6-inch Joes come back out again, right? Sigma 6.
Yes.
Sigma 6. I remember Sigma 6. Didn't
And
watch
I
it.
didn't watch that at all, dude.
Yeah,
I remember.
I didn't watch that either.
Yeah.
Sigma 6 reminded me of the Iron Man cartoon, even though I always say I love that Iron Man cartoon. It kept reusing, it felt like every episode, the same concept for every episode. And it was just like, there are other things you guys can tell. Like, you got to get out of this.
Right.
All right. So, sorry, I'm on Twitter arguing with Kanan, who's telling me Ahsoka would hold her own against Luke Skywalker. And I'm like, I don't think you know Luke Skywalker. I'm like, he was God level. Like, there's a reason why Anakin wasn't the chosen one at the end of the day, and it was Luke. Like, no.
Did you see? There's this thing going around with Giancarlo Esposito's face, where he's in shock when he hears Luke
Yes.
ordering the thing, because they had to explain it. I know at that point Luke was the boogeyman.
Yes. Yes.
That was a really cool
point,
post.
At that point, Moff Gideon, because he worked for the Empire. So at that point, everyone knows the war stories of who killed Vader and the Emperor. It was Luke. One man killed the 2 strongest beings in the galaxy. Obviously, we know, Luke didn't kill Vader. But no one else in the galaxy knows that.
Right.
So Luke plays
Right.
up to the boogeyman story. So
Which
you
is
telling
awesome.
me because Ahsoka held her own against Maul that she could stand up against Luke? Not the same thing.
She held her own against Vader too, technically.
She did, but I will also say this: Vader would toy with a lot of his kills, and I think the emotional connection is why he didn't immediately just kill Ahsoka. Ahsoka is very trained. I think Ahsoka could hold her own against anyone.
You think Vader toyed with people? I think Vader took the Bruce Lee approach as quick as you can.
Vader. It was weird because Vader was someone that was somewhat of a show, like if it was a good fight, like if he felt it was like, oh damn, okay, you pretty good, he would play around a little bit with it and then kill you.
Really, I didn't.
Yeah, Vader. He would always
go
go
to
right
Attack of the Clones. That's why. No, I'm asking. I'm not trying to knock.
As Anakin,
that
you
clip
mean?
that I was showed in that
No.
series?
Oh, okay. I don't mean Anakin. Even
Well, he was flashier as Anakin.
he was extremely flashy. Which, by the way, shout out to I just watched a video. George Lucas was saying if Anakin had not died on Mustafar, he would have been over 200% stronger than Palpatine. That's fucking insane. 200? That's insane. That's bananas.
At that point, you're gonna need the scanners from Dragon Ball Z.
Exactly. It would have crashed. Exactly.
What's going on? It starts cracking.
Right.
It's over 9,000.
Can I just get back into G.I. Joe for 1 second?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Figures.
Yeah.
So after the Pursuit of Cobra line, which was after the Retaliation line, G.I. Joe was honoring but not actually utilizing the names of who people really were. So I don't know if anybody got these, but the Quick Kick figure, who we always thought was Bruce Lee, they actually gave a nod to Bruce Lee as the Quick Kick figure. Did you ever get that one, Pete?
No, I don't.
There was a character based off of Bruce Lee?
Yeah, Quick Kick was a character based on, because he was the karate guy that went into Hollywood, right? But one of the last Quick Kick figures has the MMA boxing gloves.
I know. Yes, and nunchucks, right?
Not just that, brother. When you take the padded armor off of him, he has the scars on his back from Enter the Dragon
Oh
with the
wow.
3
Oh,
claws.
that's dope. You know what that
Right?
reminds me of, JD? I spoke with the guy who created Shang-Chi, and he kept telling me the whole interview I didn't base him off Bruce Lee, and I'm like, why are you lying? Like, why are you blatantly lying to me? That's exactly who you were trying to
Almost every popular IP has a character that Bruce as a
But
Bruce.
who did he say he based them off?
No, he was just saying it was an original concept of his, and I'm just like, I'm like, I look at it 2 ways. I look at it as I think anyone who's like that we associate with Bruce Lee. So even if even if someone is trying to be an original concept, we just always connect it to Bruce Lee. So maybe he did try to genuinely create something of its own, but it sure as hell turned into Bruce Lee. I can tell you that.
And even that Batman cartoon that came out, Soul of the Dragon, or whatever.
Yes. Yep.
Under Bruce Lee.
Yep.
But another figure like G.I. Joe tried to tie in sports athletes. They got the Frid, they got Sergeant Slaughter. They tried to get Rocky, that fell through. The Rocky thing didn't happen.
Why not Rambo? That's what they needed.
See, but that's the thing. There was a figure known as Outback. Outback was modeled off of Chuck Norris in Missing in Action 2.
I did not know that.
I remember that.
Yeah, down to the headband and the red hair.
I like that.
Shit, I did not know that.
Bazooka was modeled after a New England Patriot quarterback, who I will not name because it's the New England Patriots. What should we call it? There was one of the last Spirit figures was modeled after the Native American guy from the first Predator movie in Arnold.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my God, the guy that cut his chest. What's his name?
I don't know.
I don't know the character.
So it's towards the end of the line when that Bruce Lee quick kick figure came out. That Spirit figure came out. So they it's
Pursuit of Cobra.
I see. I don't know if it's called Pursuit of Cobra, but it was like the navy blue rim on the cards.
Yeah, it's Pursuit of Cobra.
Okay.
I'm looking at them right now, as a matter of fact, 'cause I had to look up that quick kick figure that you were talking about.
Oh.
Dude, and then you look at the pants, right, with the one stripe down the line.
Yeah, the artwork looks just like him. Like the cover art.
My favorite part about this quick kick character is that his name is MacArthur Ito. He was half Japanese and half Korean, but still has a name MacArthur. I'm trying to figure that part out.
Let you know where the times were at that time. But I want to ask this really quickly before we move out of G.I. Joe. I want to ask this about the Snake Eyes trailer. I told Joel it's my favorite look. I always love the look of a sheaf being on someone's side. But where do you guys prefer your sheafs when it comes to Snake and Storm Shadow? Just Pete, I'll start with you.
Chiefs? What?
Where they put their swords in.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm right-handed, so I would need it over here so I could draw it this way.
So you don't need the traditional on.
You ever try to fucking draw a katana from your back?
They always make it seem
it does not fucking happen.
No,
I'll tell you this: when you take a figure and put the hand on the sword that's on the sheath on his back, and you try to pull up, the sword bends on the way out.
I always thought that with remember in Dragon Ball Z when Trunks first comes back from the future and meets the crew and everything, and his sword is so big, and I'm like, how physically can you do that?
Just a random blade that I grabbed off the wall.
Put it in there. If you're gonna put it on the back, it can't be sheath unless it's a smaller sword. That's why ninjas normally, when they have it on their back.
Yes.
Right.
So from here, you would think that's as far as that's going.
Right.
That's the length of my arm.
Yeah.
So unless it has a flexible thing,
that's a full size katana.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll even say this: the one of the Snake Eyes figures that came out around the time of Rise of Cobra, Snake Eyes had it on his waist, so on his lower back, and I'm like, even that doesn't make any sense. That's not a clean. That's not a clean.
Not a big one, no.
From here or so, I could draw it from here.
No, because makes sense, Jaydee. He had it legit on his lower back, and it's just like, how do you
I could actually draw it from there though. Like if I just hold on to this from here. Sorry, my shorts do not match, but if I could,
At least
I can get it out from that way.
Fair. Okay.
Right.
I cannot get it out over my back.
How do you
though.
walk through a door?
Next on
How do you walk through the door?
GVN fashion. We'll be roasting
Of the
the
fucking thing.
attire.
How to
So-
wear your
so-
sword.
If we're talking about unrealistic positionings. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I like the cross where it's under, where they pull it out from the bottom of the back.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Near the,
Yeah.
like the lower right of the ass.
And last question: you guys prefer Snake with one or? First of all, I'm really curious. When he pulled out the sword in the trailer, they made that seem like a moment. Like that sword was supposed to mean something. Did I miss something
Say what?
in the
I
book?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, I don't
Was
know.
it branded with the Chicago logo on it or no?
No, it didn't look like it. It didn't look. You mean on like the heel of like
On the hilt,
where it
yeah.
goes to yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't look like it, but he was looking at it as if it had like a history to it or something. So
They
I-
have two different swords. Like their toys have traditionally, in like the last maybe 10 to 15 years, Snake Eyes has been almost like scimitar-ish,
Yeah.
if you will. Like, it's got a really top-heavy blade, and it's got like there you go,
Yep.
and it's got
What the
ridges
fuck?
just above the hilt and pommel. Whereas Storm Shadow is much more the traditional katana. This white katana that I have here was when I dressed as Storm Shadow for Halloween one year, and I'll send you guys those pictures.
I want to see that.
because it looks like Pete. Because what they're doing with Snake Eyes' sword is different than we've really ever seen of Snake Eyes. The handle is round. That's usually like Jaydee. If you hold up that figure, the sword in his back, the handle of it, you see the handle of it. It's not round. So I was
Okay.
really curious why they decided to go round.
Because the second Snake Eyes. No, excuse me, the third Snake Eyes, Pete's Snake Eyes. The one that he had the two Bowie knives on his chest.
Yeah.
Yes.
That the pommel of the hilt, the bottom
Mm.
Pommel.
of it was a claw holding an orb on that
Mhm.
sword.
That's a dope
Oh.
sword.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm with you on that. All right. So let's move on from Snake Eyes and G.I. Joe. Moral of the story is we are going to one way or another see this movie and properly review it based off of us actually seeing it and seeing how everything plays out.
I have
If
a
you get an
feeling-
early release, I'm coming over to your house to watch.
Yeah, seriously.
I've already told Kanan like, hey, get on that if I can. If I can,
I'll make that drive to Jersey.
especially if
Oh,
I
yeah.
can, if I can talk to Andrew.
Do
Cope.
it.
That's all I want. I just want to
Come here,
We'll,
come here,
we'll
park
alternate.
by me, and we'll jump over to Verrazano.
Yep.
We'll alternate. We'll go to New York one of these days.
Yeah, that would actually be fun. We just alternate, going back
Yeah,
and
we'll
forth. But,
alternate.
all right. So I want to get into because the whole conversation of us is, excuse me, does accuracy matter? And we talked a little bit about this before we went on. Paul Dano's Riddler or Dano. Is it Paul
Dano.
Dano?
Dano.
Dano. Okay. Paul
Really,
Dano.
Dano.
His Riddler obviously looks drastically different than any other Riddler we're used to.
So far.
So far, right. Clearly, Matt Reeves has said this numerous times. None of these characters are their actual personas yet. He's not Penguin yet. She's not Catwoman yet. The only person who's been their alter ego is Batman. This is his second year.
Mhm.
So, people have been going crazy about his look. I said this before. The look that everyone apparently just saw for the first time is in the trailer. So I had no idea why now everyone's just like, he looks like that? Why? It's like, what did you see in the trailer? Who did you think was the guy tying the guy up? Like, he was even giving a riddle in the trailer. So for me, it was just frustrating because I had no idea where the hate came from, knowing that this trailer's been around since last August. So I was just confused.
It took probably one person to point it out, and everyone else is like, I need to get outraged about this.
Yeah,
Let me go on
like-
Twitter.
like let me say this because I've learned this is the best way to handle things. If you don't like it, fine. I'm not here to argue that. Cool. I'm just saying I don't understand why people seem so shocked when it's been here the whole time. Like,
It's like that
That's
with
like-
news though too.
that's like if someone goes, "Oh man, I hate how Batman's chest piece looks." It's like, dude, that's not new. That's been around for forever.
Months, yeah.
Like, how did you just land on that idea? So Tia, I want to start with you. Getting a clear look of the taped face and everything. Do you feel any differently than you did when you actually saw the trailer?
No. I was scrolling and I saw a picture and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I kept going.
Yeah.
Because I'm sold on the movie. I love the feel of the trailer that we got. And I'm of the mindset that people, as you just said, Matt Reeves has said, none of these characters are who they actually are. You know, we may see a vamped up look and all that. This is who this character is maybe before he takes on really the persona of the Riddler. So I wasn't, I don't know. I also am of the mindset of like, he's not going to always be in that taped up thing. It's Paul Dano. You're getting him. You want him to be very like personable. You want him to really act this part out and everything. I don't think that we're only going to see him with a mask on or anything. I don't think that Matt Reeves is going to just create that sort of thing out of thin air, essentially.
Right. I mean, and it gets into what our main topic is of the day, which is, sticking close to, where these characters come from, the looks of where they come from. And me and Joel have talked about this numerous times. To me, it's always, to change a look is cool if it's someone who wears like a mask, right? So if you want to change up that look, that's fine because it's the design of the mask. It could be like Batman with the ears on the cowl. We get it. But to change a look of someone who does not wear a mask is usually where my issue comes from, is because there is nothing else distinguishing who that person is besides the look. So if you change the look, it's like, well, why?
Well,
You know?
what I think maybe what we're going to see right now is that, again, he hasn't become this sort of really maybe outlandish public sort of character. This is him maybe operating in the shadows more so before kind of realizing maybe his true self or something like that. I really doubt that we're going to see a continuation of this look. This is going to be in this film only, and maybe not even for the entirety of the film. So
Right.
again, it really didn't bother me at all. I didn't sit there and say, oh my God, you don't have the jacket, where's the cane, where's the question mark and everything. I don't know. I didn't really see what the big deal was.
Yeah, he's clearly working towards it, and he said it. Like he's not trying to sell us that this is what he wants his Riddler to look like.
Right.
He's made it very clear that they're on evolutionary journeys, that each of these villains will become who they're destined to be.
Right.
So I'll pass it to you, Pete. Did the look bother you at all, strike you at all, or do you remember the look from the actual trailer? Like, how did you?
I didn't remember the look from the trailer, and when you guys were talking about it, I was kind of like, wait, what? So I had to quickly look it up, and having just seen it, I'm kind of taking Matt Reeves's Batman in stride, with a grain of salt. I'm gonna see it, obviously, because I see all superhero movies. I don't pick and choose like that. If I don't like it after the fact, then I'll tell you I don't like it. But I'm not gonna prejudge it like that. I'm gonna see Snake Eyes. I may not like it, but I'm gonna see it. That being said, I get the idea of building to a final costume. We've seen that happen in a lot of different flicks. Spider-Man comes to mind, like the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and even the Andrew Garfield shit comes to mind. Like you have a gradual increase in quality. Let's just, for lack of a better term.
Right.
So it doesn't really bother me. Also, I'm not like a hardcore Riddler aficionado, so all right, whatever. Maybe I'd like a few more hints of green in there instead of trying to look like a, wannabe Baron Zemo or some shit. All right, whatever.
Can I say really quick? I'm sorry to interrupt you, Pete. To me, the thing that I disliked the most that they changed about the Riddler was his name. That was what.
Wait, he's not Edward Nygma?
No, his name is
No.
Edward Nashton. he becomes Edward Nygma later.
Right.
Is he? But is he going to become Edward Nygma?
We don't know,
or-
but in the comics it was Nashton, and he becomes
Oh,
Really?
Edward
okay.
Nygma.
Right.
Oh, okay.
I
See,
thought it
didn't
was
know that.
always Nygma.
No,
No,
that's
to me, I
that's
kinda-
why a lot of people were freaking out when he first announced Dano as the Riddler. He had this is Edward Nashton. Everyone's like, who the fuck is Edward Nashton?
I
And
was
then
kind of.
if you look
when
it
did
up,
that,
he was Nashton before he was Nygma.
I
Is
always,
that his golden age first appearance in Tech 140, or was it his like Silver Age? Like when was that
it was
name
Silver, but if I remember correctly, it was a more modern take on him.
happen?
But that's because when I looked up Nashton, because I knew the same. I'm like, who the fuck is Nashton? Why would you change that? Such a little thing.
right.
But yes, apparently he becomes Nygma, and that's why I think that's why I also believe it's just an early look because he's not the Riddler yet. You know,
Right.
he's not even Edward Nygma yet. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right. I think more
Okay, that's
so
interesting.
I think
I didn't
more
know
so
that.
my bigger issue is with superhero movies today is the idea that villains have to have an arc. Villains have to have their side of the story. I can't remember the last time we legit just had a villain. Like someone that just woke up one day and was just like, I just want to set the whole city on fire.
Joker, the movie you don't like, The Dark Knight. That guy was all about
Right, because that was
betrayal.
definitely, it felt, I won't get into that. Yes.
No,
but
we shouldn't
you're right,
because you
you're
just
right, yes,
contradicted yourself, my
yes,
friend.
yes, yes. So outside of that, because to me the importance of that is you don't need a villain who's doing it because he grew up rough or anything like that. To me, it's like it's okay to just have a guy who just wants to kill people, and you got your hero that has to stop him.
People just want to see the world burn.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So to me, it's
From the
like
Joker.
you giving them
From
this,
the Dark Knight.
Yeah, from The Dark Knight.
you giving these villains this kind of story to where it's like, damn, I feel sorry for him, or damn, like he did have it rough. It's like it takes
I don't need that.
away from that. Yeah, it's like just make him a bad guy.
Some villains I just want to be assholes for
That's
the
it.
sake of being assholes.
You're
I
a
said
bad-
that about when I watched Wonder Woman 84, and they, for whatever inexplicable reason, felt the need to rationalize what's his name?
Max.
Fucking Maxwell Lord. Thank you.
The
Like,
child.
that guy was a dick, and he was cool with being just a businessman and a dick. I don't need some lame ass backstory of him trying to make his son love him. Who the fuck cares? Shut up.
Even to this topic specifically, the Riddler that we know is a guy who just viewed himself as smarter than everybody and just wanted to showcase it. It wasn't like
That's it. Yes.
it wasn't like, man, I grew up and the rich were always, favored, and now I want to take down the rich. Like, and I'm not saying this is what Matt Reeves is doing, even though you kind of get a glimpse of it.
But you're absolutely right. Like,
that's who the Riddler was.
I just watched. I'm still watching Batwoman and a lot of the CW shows, mostly because I've invested so much time. I might as well
Same here.
see them through.
Same here. No, I watch them all, brother.
The last
Like-
episode with what's her name, with Stephanie Brown and
Yeah.
Cluemaster, that was
Yeah.
actually really damn good because you had a villain who just didn't like the fact that people might be smarter than him.
That was it.
That
That was it.
that's his whole motivation. That was fantastic.
That
That's
was
what I want to see out of this. And the thing with like changing villains and either adding to their backstory to make them more human or give them more rationale, a lot of it, I just think that's would be Hollywood writers trying to be more than they are supposed to be. Like, shut up, write the movie the way it's given to you in the funny books, and stop trying to make a name for yourself, because you're making a name and we're gonna hate you.
I don't always think it's the. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
go ahead. No, go ahead, Jaydee.
No, I don't always think it's the writer.
True.
You've
Probably
got a lot of producers in
higher
there
ups.
that are executives that are always
Money
giving
people.
notes. Sometimes they give notes just to give notes.
It- Mhm.
To validate their position.
It's also
And-
trending.
I mean, honestly, it comes down to this. When you have a good guy and a bad guy, to me, what distinguishes the bad guy is that he's the monster. It's supposed to make people go, wow, I don't like that guy. But do you know how many people left Infinity War like, maybe Thanos had a point? That should never be the case. It should be, everyone should leave and go, nah, man, F that guy. I hate him. But recently with all these movies, these shows. I mean, Tia, I'll even say this. Be honest. How much did you enjoy Kingpin?
I loved
Kingpin is
Kingpin.
awesome.
Exactly.
Kingpin-
because they
but
didn't- they
the
didn't
thing is
trust him
though,
as a monster.
Bullseye was awesome.
but Bullseye
That's-
was freaking awesome.
Awesome.
But even though Bullseye was humanized to a degree, but I
was.
still thought of him as a villain.
He was
Same thing
mental.
with Kingpin. Yes, you understood where his background was, but I think that Vincent D'Onofrio just played that so well to the point where it's
So
like,
fuck-
yeah, you got to see his background, you got to see him with his love, and you
So
still
good.
saw him
So
as
good.
a monster. I
That's
want to
writing
point out,
done right.
and I wanted to point out another, to me at least, writing done right. The show Stargirl,
Yeah.
Icicle was a
Icicle was great.
great villain,
Yeah.
but we knew his background. We saw him as a family man. There was that small part where you're like, maybe he does just want good and everything, and then you're like, oh wait, no, he's the
The
freaking
murderer.
villain. Destroy this guy. You know?
How about Michael Keaton as the Vulture?
Right.
Spider-Man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Still
He
a
was a
bad
family
guy.
man. And he wasn't a bad guy because once he found out who Pete was, he was like, listen, I'm going to
did
give
like
you
that.
an option. Drop it, and we're all good.
Yeah.
We're all
Mhm.
good.
And then
Nothing
Peter Parker's
else
like, nope.
Fucked it up.
And I gotta protect my own. And that's all he was doing. He was
Yeah.
protecting his family.
He
And
was.
that was a very pleasant swerve that I did not see coming. That Liz's dad was
Was the
Vulture.
Vulture,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That was a good twist.
I was
That's
just like,
right?
I did
But
not.
that was
see
a great
coming.
scene
It was like-
because Michael
Yeah.
Keaton in that moment wasn't
Yes.
necessarily scary because he was the Vulture. He was scary because he was a dad.
Yes.
And I'll even admit this. I was shocked as Tom Holland's Peter was getting shocked, but for different reasons. I was thinking more so, oh, damn, he knows who Peter is. He's about to kidnap her. And then when she's like, all right, Dad, I'm just like, wait, what? What? Hold on, what? So I was just like, that's amazing writing. And that's
Yeah.
something, that's a small little change that you kind of just go, okay, all right, okay, I'll take that.
Double
For
life,
sure.
Michael Keaton.
I have to interject as well, Tia. You're absolutely right. Like Stargirl was a phenomenal first season,
Hell
and I'm
yeah.
really looking forward to season 2. Icicle, like even though you've seen him as the family man and everything, like there are points where you clearly remember, oh yeah, he's the bad guy. But mad props to Grandma and Grandpa who were in on the whole shit,
hell yeah.
and they're like, you're
When
gonna
he
have to kill
kills-
them.
When he kills that one
Brilliant.
person and the freaking like parents come in, you think they're gonna be shot. They're like,
Like, and then just start dragging the body away. Like, oh man.
it's like, oh, he comes from a lineage of assholes.
Right. I also want to give Stargirl credit because they didn't play on tropes. Like
Mhm.
usually in a show like that, how long does it take the hero to figure out who the bad guy is? When they had that dinner and Stargirl was just like, some name right. Like, I love that because it's like I don't need you to kind of just like don't ride it. Don't ride certain things. Like
And it
think
was
about
a
how
perfect
quickly she
little
became
thing.
Stargirl.
It was as simple as like, oh, really hot dish, and he's able to just like grab it like
Yeah.
nothing,
Right,
and it's
right,
like just like that.
Like,
Exactly.
People don't give Stargirl credit. Like,
It's such a
not
good
give-
show.
Swerves. Speaking of swerves, her going over there for dinner and him answering the door and her going, oh, you like you. But no, I mean, so this all goes into the conversation of, you know, does this consistency and does this accuracy matter? Because to me, it's what will make or break a movie to me as someone who's read where these things come from. It's the idea of accuracy has to hit more so than anything else. And I always use the example of Venom because I don't think Venom was a good movie, but it hit certain accurate points that I said that was enough to quench my thirst on whether or not I could make it through that fucking movie. Like that is what made the difference of whether or not I was going to fall asleep, go back and ask for my money back. Like it led to a lot of things.
he
So
ain't
for me-
moving. Trust me, he ain't moving.
But I didn't fall asleep. Well, I didn't fall
No,
asleep.
but I rarely see you
Sleep.
blink either, so it's weird.
Juwaan, I have a question because you say this a lot when we do things like, "Am I going to ask for my money back?" Have you ever asked for your money back? And it
100%.
makes me
Me and my
really
dad
curious.
got it. No, 100%. We sat through. I swear, and I'll bring next time. I'll bring my dad on here, and he'll confirm it. We sat through some movie, and like 20 minutes in, we were just like, this is like, what the fuck is this?
Shoot 'em up, right?
Joel, my dad does not like your jokes against shoot 'em up, Joel. So we got up, we went back to the ticket booth, and we said, we really do not like this movie. Is there any way we can get our money back? And the lady said, yeah, sure. So
What
we
was
got
it? You remember what it was?
my dad does. My dad 100% does. I don't.
It was that bad.
But I don't mean to say it like it's something we've done like a million times.
He does it every single movie,
Yeah.
even if he liked it. I hated that. Can I get my
I
money
said
back?
the whole thing. I hated it. Can I get no? So I only know
5 minutes left, sir. You could have came in a half hour ago.
right?
It's like the people who eat the entire steak and they're like, it wasn't cooked properly. Can I-
I need another one. But no, so yeah, I only know of one time that I did it with my dad. He might have stories of a million times he's done it on his own, but I've only done it with my dad once.
Never
But no,
done that.
so to me, accuracy and consistency matter. You know, you have a template, is what I always say. You have a template of what you can base it off of. You don't have to drastically go away from that template. Use it. Use it. I say all the time. T, I know you enjoyed it. Joel, to a degree, I know you enjoyed it. Suicide Squad 100% could have just used the template of Assault on Arkham, and it would have been a way better story. Way better story. Again, you don't need Batman that much, like you did in Assault on Arkham. You can use them as little as you did in the actual Suicide Squad movie. But the idea of them having a more reasonable goal, it just would have made that
realistic. Just
so
a more
much
realistic goal. It just there's a lot of fucking weird
Agreed.
reasons for why they were formed, where they went out to go. There are a lot of non-powerful characters they used to go after like a god, and it was weird.
Well, yeah, and I actually just rewatched Suicide Squad last week. Still enjoyed it. Still walked away from enjoying it.
It's fun.
But then now watching it, you know, and kind of picking like, I hated Killer Croc's look. You know, you want to talk about
I love Killer
accuracy,
Croc
and it's
look.
like
he
was
looked just
so
like
sca-
the cartoon. It was
are you
amazing.
joking?
Have you
Or-
watched the animated series?
I watched Batman series. He was
He looks just
large.
like that.
No, he was a
He's not
skinny
as,
little.
he's not as tall.
He was a skinny little toothpick with a big head, and I hated the
He
look.
looked. That's
you
why they
know?
won the fucking Emmy because of that fucking the Cosmo prosthetics on that shit. That was insane. I loved it.
I actually though upon rewatching, this is so like not the point or anything, but I did notice a few things that I'd never noticed before. When Diablo, like I forget who he like waves his hand in front of, whether it's Deadshot or Captain Boomerang, he waves his hand to say like I don't do that shit anymore, and like a flame goes, and you see his Aztec or Mayan god version in the flame when he does that. And I was like, I never caught that before. So I'm like, I'm just saying, Suicide Squad, it was all right. I still liked it.
I enjoyed it. You know.
I mean, there were some things like again, Enchantress, like doing this
Yeah.
the entire.
It had its moments, but ultimately, any movie that puts K7 in the soundtrack automatically becomes moved.
Wait, which one is that?
Oh, the scene where Margot Robbie's going up in the elevator and you hear, come, baby, come, baby,
Oh.
baby, come. No, K7 should not be allowed. On
I
any-
laughed so hard.
That killed it for me. That killed it for me. That killed it for me.
That was one of the greatest songs of the early 90s, man. Come on.
That's fucking boy.
It was the weirdest moment to put that song, though. The weirdest moment to put that song.
It was
They were like-
very out of place. They were like
went
all
over-
serious, and all of a sudden it's like.
We went over our budget. What can we slide in here for the minimum amount of money?
Yeah.
The
But
use of
speaking-
Icarus.
To bring it back to accuracy, it's just small things, like I said, that catch me. Like I remember in the theater when it showed Deadshot in the mask with the raining bullets, I squealed. No one else in the theater understood why that was like the
I
coolest.
loved that. Even though his shit was on the wrong eye, the whole movie that bothered me.
Yes, it was
But
on
whatever.
the wrong eye. Yes.
It bugged me. The whole movie bugged me.
But no one understood that. No one also understood when they showed really quickly what Harley and Joker's actual crime, what Harley's crimes were, and it was assisting in killing the Robin. A lot of people it went right over their head, and I'm like, those are certain like accuracies that I'm like, Okay, that
The
excited.
intros to the characters was like my favorite part of the movie. Like,
Yeah.
you
Got
do
to
the
see
music
Harley
video.
in her classic outfit. I
Yeah.
never thought I was going to
Yes,
see
dope.
that in
That
live
was
Touched
dope.
action.
by David Ayer. That was
Even if it was like a 2-second thing, I was like,
Classic horror.
Saw why it didn't work. Going back to accuracy,
Mhm.
it doesn't always translate from the comic page to the screen.
But that
That's
could.
why we never got, the Captain America thing. Yeah, we got it. But we understood why Captain America's original costume didn't work, right? The nod to Scarlet Witch and Vision, their original costumes.
Yeah.
All right, we understand why it didn't work. If you capture the elements, though, then it should work. One of the reasons the Fantastic Four